This is for the feed, so hopefully I'm loud enough without it. Welcome back. Thank you for choosing this session. Just a quick reminder, if you choose this session but do want to see any of the others, they are all being streamed, so you haven't missed out. You can always go back and watch them. A brief introduction from me to say welcome and to introduce Ian Duffy.
Thank you very much. Hello. So I'm here to talk about mental health and fitness and the link. I want to put it out there that I have no medical qualifications whatsoever. I'm just talking from a common sense and experience point of view. So my history, I was born into the army, Aldershot Military Hospital. I then followed my father around for 16 years, Hong Kong, Singapore, Germany, and the south of England, before joining the army myself at the age of 16. What a lovely young boy I was. I did 2 years apprentice college, became an aircraft technician and did that for 10 years. I then decided I didn't like helicopters as they were noisy, greasy things that you fixed and they came back broken and you fixed them again. So I decided to work with people and I became a military training instructor within the REME organisation. I did that for a further 10 years until the end of my 22, teaching recruits, lance corporals that wanted to be corporals, corporals that wanted to be sergeants, and sergeants who wanted to be artificers and beyond. Also teaching officers at stages, finishing as a company sergeant major at 9 field workshops in Borden. I was then absolutely terrified of leaving the army. There was nothing I wanted to do in Civvy Street. And the thought of working in an office absolutely terrified me because I'm not the most politically correct person you've ever met. And I'd been terrified on various courses that I'd done to acquaint me with the civilian life on how ridiculous it could be. So I knew that for a fact myself. I'd called someone fat in the army and I was taken to task because I shouldn't have called them fat, apparently. Okay, so that was a CO's interview. As a sergeant major, I thought this is going the wrong way and I just would not survive in Civvy Street. So I then went onto the long service list. On the long service list, you tend to do jobs that nobody else wants to do, but they want experience to do them. So I worked with the Intelligence Corps. I worked as a resettlement warrant officer, and I also worked on an Army cadet training team. I was a training warrant officer at HQ Land in Wilton for a year, but I finished with the cadet training team. I'd actually qualified as an assistant PTI in 1987. I remember it being 1987 because we spent one day of the course clearing up the leaves after the hurricane. Do you remember the hurricane? It took a lot of the trees down on Queen's Avenue in Aldershot. There I was sweeping. I was unusual because I actually did that course as a sergeant. It's normally lance corporals and corporals that do that course, but I did it as a sergeant. And then I took the unusual step of actually qualifying every 5 years thereafter, so I could keep being the person that set the pace on the force marches, on the CFTs. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm not extra tall, and I found that when I had tall PTIs running the CFT, I could hardly keep up because my little legs were going like crazy. Okay, so I kept on qualifying, and then when I was looking at Civvy Street after 34 years service, I decided to do something that would enhance what I'd got in mind, which was a personal trainer's course. So I qualified as a personal trainer in 2011. I was leaving the army to run a multi-level marketing company, Herbalife, working with Herbalife, food, nutrition, so teaching people about food and nutrition and meal supplements. So that was, I was going to do, my personal training was going to help me help the clients that I already had through nutrition. I had no desire to work in a gym. I can't stand gyms. No offence to the boys from the PT Corps, but Adonis is standing in front of mirrors and doing all the business doesn't really turn me on. The loud music, everything else. I like to exercise outside. So I left the army to, I had the choice of either going to Scotland to live where my parents lived or to where my girlfriend lived in Bournemouth. And I looked at the weather conditions and thought Bournemouth really does have it. So there we were, and I was running a boot camp on a Saturday morning to help support my clients. The relationship with the girlfriend went south. I had to move out. I consequently ended up having a stroke about 6 years ago. Now, we heard earlier from Mark and how he was left for 15 minutes before someone found him. Obviously, that has had a detrimental effect on his outcome. I was very lucky. I had someone with me at the time that immediately recognised it as a stroke. I was even more lucky because the fact was I was driving on the motorway at 90 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour in the fast lane at night, and I went blind within 5 seconds. Okay, it hit very fast and very quick. So luckily, I didn't panic, she didn't panic, and we got to the side of the road, swapped seats, and we then went to Basingstoke Hospital, where the nurses and the doctors worked on me, and I believe saved my life. That is the reason I'm here, is because we got to the hospital quick and they worked on me. My recovery I put down to my own fitness and my nutrition. Within 3 days, I was out of the hospital. I was discharged on the Monday afternoon. This had happened on a Friday night. I was out with a little bit of double vision. My vision improved over the week. On the Friday, I cycled from Bournemouth to Poole for a business meeting. Probably shouldn't have done because I was still seeing double. I was just aiming for the side of the road. And then on the Saturday, I did park run round Poole Park with my son. He had to run on the inside of me because there's a lake there that you run around, and I still had double vision, and I was going to fall in the lake. So my recovery was exceptionally fast, okay, and I put that down to personal fitness and down to nutrition. It gave me one of those life-changing moments where you think, do I need to slow down? And I decided to stop doing so much business and do the things that I like doing. And the things I like doing is taking boot camps and having a laugh outside. So I upped the boot camp from 1 time a week to 5 times a week. So now we run boot camps on Bournemouth Beach 4 times a week. Mondays and Thursdays, 6 o'clock in the morning till 7, and in the evenings 7 till 8. It's nothing too technical. It's just getting people together and having a laugh, okay? We take all comers. We take all ages, confused people, men and women, and in between. And we also take all fitness levels, but I can't deal with disability. That would be a step too far. So within my class, I could have somebody who's got 1 1/4 lungs left, and I could have someone that can do 6-minute miles. All right, so we have a mixed ability in the class. So what we do is I give different instructions to different people and beast them at different levels. Does that make sense? Okay, but a lot of the time what we do is we play games and we have fun. And I find that when we have fun, people work hard, but they don't realize they're working so hard. And they get to the end and they think, why am I knackered? We play silly games. Some of you may remember British Bulldog from school. Some of you may remember skipping with 1 long rope. Yeah, more the girls than the boys, but I must admit I did do it when I was a kid. We get people doing that, and that always provides a hell of a laugh. We get people doing stick in the mud. Has anybody played stick in the mud? Yeah? So we play all these games, and people are working hard, but they don't realize it. Leapfrog, that is hilarious when you do it in the sea. Because I don't think many people understand that when you do leapfrog, your feet are still in the water. So when you go to jump forward, your feet don't move forward, but your head does, and you go in. It's just about having a laugh. We get all types of people, and generally speaking, I call them broken wings, people that come from broken relationships, life traumas, people that have lost their jobs, people that have moved into the area recently, relationship breakups, bereavements, all those sort of people. And one thing that's common to most of those is they're lonely. And they don't feel good. So when we get them along, I have a few rules at my boot camp. And the rules are very, very simple. No bitching, moaning, or whining. Okay, so no BMWs. We don't allow people to complain because no one wants to hear your complaints. There is no negativity. Anybody that's negative over anything gets burpees for everybody. Okay, so we very quickly learn not to be negative. There's no talking when I'm talking. Because I've got so many different levels of ability, I have to explain different exercises to different people. And if someone's talking, then someone's not hearing. So outside of, we do it tongue-in-cheek, but outside of those, you know, burpees are awarded or whatever is awarded to the people, to the offenders. You have to keep moving your feet once we start. So no sitting down or leaning against walls. And you have to smile and have fun. All right, we do a lot of partner exercises because I find that there are so many lonely people out there that everybody's frightened to talk to each other these days. Have you noticed people that go out for a run have their earphones in, people riding bikes have their earphones in, people going to gyms, you can't hear what anybody's saying. When people go to classes, they go to the class, they do the class within 2 seconds. At the end of it, they're gone because we've all got busy lives. So we don't. We make people work together, we work in teams, and we have games and fun. It's like being back in the school ground, but people start making friends. And after a while, they're not coming to exercise. What they're doing is they're coming to see their friends. And incidentally, we run around a bit as well. But we do run around quite a lot. We're out in all weathers. Everything is done outside. There's no such thing as bad weather. According to Billy Connolly, there's just the wrong clothing. So if it's raining, we wear more clothes. If it's cold, we wear more clothes. If it's nighttime, we carry torches. Okay? So we just get on with it and deal with it. What else do we do? There's a partner exercise that we do. I think in the army I used to know it as Chinese boxing, where one person, well, each of you stands opposite each other, facing each other, and you have your right hand open. With your left hand, you're gripping the wrist of your partner who has got his right hand open. And then when I say kill, you have to try and hit each other around the head. And that sounds quite savage, but actually no one ever really gets hit. But the giggling that goes on, the ice is immediately broken. And you have to talk to somebody. And we find that at the start of a session will get new people involved, and they've got a partner then to work with. With that working with partners, it brings them into the fold. Afterwards, we always, on a morning session, we'll have a cup of tea on the beach and just put the world to rights. That's the time to have a chat and to really get to know each other. On a Thursday night, I'm looking forward to it tonight, we actually go to the pub afterwards. And some of us will have a drink, whether it's water or beer, it doesn't really matter. It's just going and being part of something and being part of a community. And it's that community that brings people back again and again and again. And we start to see people opening up, because people are very closed when they first come to us. But they start opening up and you start finding out more about people. And that's what it's about. It's about people and developing people. And it's the physical exercise, it's the being outdoors, and it's the community. We also put on other social events, and we have even gone to a classical concert before. Who would have ever thought me going to a classical concert? It was very good. We've been to, we've put on other events. We've done paintballing, we've done laser quest, we've done kayaking out to Harry's Rocks, we've done paddleboarding, all different skills and different events, mainly using equipment from a hire company. I don't organise it necessarily. I just say we're all going to go here and we're going to do this, and it's going to cost you this if you want to come along. I don't get involved in the money. They get involved in the money. They hire the equipment. Okay, but it's being together, and that togetherness actually helps bring people out of themselves. We have also got mountain biking on the agenda sometimes. We'll go out mountain biking. Part of my resettlement, I did a mountain bike leaders course. Again, nothing technical. We just go out into Wareham Forest or onto not Camden Heath, that's in London, isn't it? Camford Heath. There we are. So we go out on Camford Heath, and I'll go through some very, very basic mountain bike techniques and just get people out riding in the fresh air, learning some new skills, making new friends. Okay? We'll be doing that this Saturday after the boot camp. We do a Saturday morning boot camp. Does anybody know where the Parkstone viewpoint is? The end of Ashley Road in Poole. It's on the top of the hill. All right? Beautiful view. That's where we meet, 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning. And people, again, it can be a different crew because some people come to the beach in the morning, some people come in the evenings, some people only come at weekends. Doesn't really matter. Whenever you can, whenever it's flexible. People think I do this for money. I don't. I did it for my own sanity. Okay, after my stroke, I went to a very dark place. I was feeling quite cheesed off with myself. I wouldn't get out of bed for 3 days, but I had to get out of bed to go and do the boot camps because I'd said I was going to be there. And I had to put on a smile because no one was allowed to be negative. And within 5 minutes of acting happy, I was happy. So I personally have experienced that lift that it gives you. We have got various success stories. I was going to name them, but because this is now going out on YouTube, I can't. But we had one chap come along who was not the most robust individual in the world. In fact, Kenneth Williams is a very accurate, likely sort of comparison. But when I asked him to run one morning, he said, "Oh, I've got pains in my chest." Well, he kind of said, "Oh, I think I've got pains in my chest." And he said, "You need to go and get checked out." He went to see the doctor, and the doctor actually said, "If you hadn't have pushed yourself, you wouldn't have known, and you are building up for a huge heart attack." And it was probably going to be fatal. So he phoned me up about a month later, very emotional, and said, "I wouldn't be here." So thank you. We have had a youngster who was quite overweight, who wanted to go and join the Navy. He came, lost 3 stone over a period of time, got his fitness levels up, so that was one thing he didn't have to worry about when he went to do his recruit training. He's now successfully passed his trade training, his recruit training and trade training in the Navy. Questionable why he'd want to join the Navy, but there we go. Who else? We've had various couples get together because they met at boot camp. I'm one of those. I met my current partner there, and we've moved in together and bought a house together, which has done marvellous because she was fresh out of a divorce and not in a good place. I wasn't in a good place. We met, and marvellous. We've now bought an apartment together and intend to spend the rest of our lives together, which is marvellous. Okay, we've had a baby. I feel like Cilla Black sometimes. Do I need to buy a hat? All right. But it's just getting people together and putting like-minded people in the same place, which will allow things to naturally grow. On Sundays, we join up with another organisation that I've been part of for about 20 years, and that's Hash House Harriers. Has anybody heard of the Hash House Harriers? They're a bunch of lunatics, normally civilian, and they meet on a given day of the week. They will normally meet in a car park, and there will be someone who is called the Hare, who has laid a trail on the ground. It's a bit like an old-fashioned paper chase. And basically, someone will lay a trail on the ground, and it's up to the runners to go and find the trail. So you will run along. There'll be blobs of flour or sawdust on the ground. So you run along, the faster runners chasing the flour. They will shout on as they go, so the slower ones know which way to go. What happens is when they get to a junction of paths, there'll be a circle on the ground of flour or sawdust, and that's called a check, because what happens now is the trail could go anywhere. So the faster runners go down the various options, and they're looking for the trail, but the slower runners are gradually catching up. They get to the check, and then they stand and have a chat. One of the fast runners will now call to say to say they found the trail. Everybody goes that way. The fast runners that have gone the wrong way now have to run extra because they have to come back to the check and then go on the right path. So this is an excellent way of keeping a group of people who are of different levels of ability out in the countryside having fun in the weather. All right. We do that for about an hour. Generally speaking, I've managed to shorten the trails now to about 4 miles. So the slower runners run stop, start, about 4 miles. We have a walking group that do a slightly shorter trail of about 3 miles. The faster runners can run anything up to 8 miles, depending on the deviousness of the hare, to making them go down false trails and come back and all that sort of stuff. So everybody gets a workout for their own level of ability. People get a good chat, and when we finish, we all stand in a circle, and anybody that said anything stupid or done anything stupid gets pulled into the centre of the circle. We take the mick, and we have a drink, and we have a laugh. Then we go to the pub, have a few more drinks, and a few more laughs. Okay, but that, again, is another group of people, exercise, healing people. Certainly, the Hash House Harriers healed me. I was married for 16 years. My marriage fell apart. I just moved jobs. I was in Aldershot. I went from a 4-bedroom house to a room that was 10 foot by 6 foot, and thinking, what do I do now? You've screwed up your life. What do you do now? Okay, I contacted, or luckily I'd started hashing the year before. I looked for a hashing group in Aldershot. I found one, and I never looked back, because I found my tribe. I found lunatics that liked to go running, liked drinking, liked socializing, liked the things I liked. And if you can associate with people like you, then the chances are you're going to fit in and feel part of something. So, what else? How can you find us? We have a Facebook group. Apparently now, if it isn't on Facebook, it doesn't happen. So we have a Facebook group. That's our group there. I do have some flyers with the link addresses. Okay, so if you know anybody that you think could benefit from coming along and joining us, that's the group, and we do 5 days a week. Now there's also something, not all of my clients look like the big guy 2 in from the right, just in case there's any people hoping to come and meet someone. All right, we're a whole different bunch of people. We're also on a thing called Meetup. Has anybody heard of Meetup? No? If you Google Meetup, all right, you can find groups of people who enjoy doing what you enjoy doing. So if you enjoy walking sausage dogs, there's a group that walks sausage dogs, okay? And it's a way of putting people in touch with their tribe. And I've used that because we started up. You can start one of any of these groups up. You can start. Mine costs about £16 a month to actually run, but I get 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 people a week coming to join through Meetup. All right, it's a social connection type of. It's not a dating site, and my bootcamp is not a dating site. But when people find their tribe, they start liking people. So how much does it cost when people come? I actually give the first session is completely free. If you come and enjoy it and want to be part of it, that's great. You can then pay either £3 a session, okay, or that's pay as you go, or what we do is you can pay £30 and have 15 sessions, so it puts it down to £2 a go. Now, I don't think I'm going to make myself rich on those, because I do it as a hobby. It's helped me, and I want to help other people. All right, I've got a reasonably good pension that covers my bills. All right, this covers my parking fines because I don't pay the parking. I'm not sure if I should say that, but it's extortionate. So it's cheaper to pay the fines when you get caught occasionally than to pay every time. So when people come along, become part of the tribe, find out how you can raise people. All right, if you know anybody that is in the Bournemouth area, then please send them along. I've got some flyers. If you'd like to take one, dish them out, okay? We don't have many veterans come along. And I don't understand, but I've had I think about three veterans that have come along, and none of them have suffered from PTSD that I'm aware of. But they do come along and they do join in and they've had fun, okay? And sometimes people are with us for years, sometimes they come along, they fix themselves, and then they go on to other interests, which is fine, all right? But I personally believe, and I think is it your cause motto, healthy in body, healthy in mind, all right? It gets the happy dolphins swimming around, and we all like to feel better. So, that is me. Has anybody got any questions? Has anybody got any suggestions for schoolyard games that I haven't mentioned? Not with Kenneth Williams. I'm not playing Kiss Chase in our... no. No. 40-40? 40-40, I've not heard of that.
Google it. We played it all the time.
Oh, right.
One person, you have to run away, and then that one person turns around, you have to stop. And you run as far as you can in that period of time, and then as they turn backwards and forwards, you have to get back, run back to catch them.
Oh, I see. Right, I'll have a chat with you later. And yeah. We do play TIG. We play Leapfrog in various versions. Obviously, through COVID, we had to curtail everything. And what we did through COVID, in order to keep, because I'm fully aware that we had some people that were very much on their own. And obviously being alone for any period of time was not good for anybody. And in isolation, all the problems that were occurring were getting much worse. So we did 2 online versions a day throughout COVID. So I don't know how many that was, but that was a lot. But I would do a 7-minute session at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then I would do a 30-minute session in the evening. And that kept a lot of people ticking over. And because we were on Zoom, they could see each other, and it was like a bit of a lifeline. So that's me. If you found anything beneficial, then great. If you would like to hand some flyers to people so they can come and find us, I've got the link addresses, and I'd be more than happy to take on veterans.